Hello there, and welcome back to Build with the Boys, and Happy New Year to all of you. With the new year starting, with New Year comes new models. The first one out the gate has been the Batman Tumbler, which we've built already. It's on the channel, so you can go and check out part one of that. But there's been a lot of I don't know what to get. And there will be, because amazingly, we've kind of got this absolute feast at the moment of potential part works. So this is a roundup of everything that, well, I say everything, this isn't everything. There's that many. This video would be an hour long if I did all of them. Of all the ones that are kind of out in the world at the moment, things that have gone to trial, things that are on a full run but maybe not necessarily in the UK, things that are coming, things we know are confirmed, things that are a possibility, and things that at this stage seem very unlikely. So we're just going to go through some of the ones that are out there that might be coming this year. I can't promise that, but some of these definitely are. I mean, so first one that is almost a shoo-in at this point, and I would imagine this is going to appear in the next couple of months at least, is the alien xenomorph from Hachette, which is this one here. So that is launching this year. When, I don't know. February is kind of the rumor. I can see what that would be. They've just launched the Tumbler. I would imagine they want to kind of get the market in and the kind of excitement that way for that one before they launch another one rather than launch two at the same time. So February is a possibility, but we'll see. But they have confirmed, as you can see from the post, that it is launching this year in the UK. So if you want it, you can get it. If you want to see it already, Kev over the Nexus is building the Alien. It's quite far into it as well. He's been shipping them in from France, where this has been on release for over a year. So France will actually come at the end of this one. So you can see it being built. It's a very unique model. It's one that uses a lot of almost like latex skin that gets glued to the model. So there's a lot of glue involved in this one. But that appears to be becoming more of a trend in part works, which you'll see with some of the other trials we're going to talk about. But that's one that's a definite this year. So you will see the alien xenomorph. Beyond that, there are no real definites this year. That's the only one I can say unequivocally, yes, we're getting that one. The only other one is Warhammer. So the Warhammer, I want to say Age of Sigma, but I don't think it is. Stormbringer? I'm not sure. Stormbringer, I think. I don't know. Is happening because we were actually sent a set of sprues from Hachette for signing up to trial, and we were told this is going ahead, and I believe that's happening in March of this year. So the Warhammer one is definitely going ahead as well. Beyond that, we don't know. We can make educated guesses. There's one other we know is launching, but we don't know when it's launching, and it's a relaunch. But we'll look at, like I said, we'll look at all of these. One of these that's been going for over a year in France is the Starsky and Hutch Gran Torino, which is this one. Now, as far as I'm aware, that never got trialled in the UK. If it has, I didn't see it. They claimed the Titanic was trialled over here, but no one saw it. That doesn't mean it wasn't. It just might have been something very remote. But I've heard nothing of that launched in the UK, nothing at all. That was through Hachette in France. I've not seen it launched in any of the territories. As far as I'm aware, it's not been launched in Italy. It's not been launched in Germany, which would suggest to me it didn't do great business in France, and it's probably a run there, and that's it. But who knows? I mean, never say never, but I've heard nothing of that coming out anywhere. It's a nice car, but it just seems, I don't know, 30 years after the fact. I know we got Knight Rider and things like that, but I don't know. I can't see there being a huge Starsky and Hutch market. I just can't. It's not as iconic as it was. There are far more iconic things available, but I don't know. I mean, it is a really nice model. I can't take that away from it. It is gorgeous. I've seen French builders building it. It is a lovely model, but I just don't think the popularity was maybe there. So we've not seen it over here. Whether or not we ever will, I don't know. The next one, which, again, I don't know what's happening with this one. I'd like to see it over here because the kids really want to build it, but I don't know, is the Infinity Gauntlet. So Altair in France have been running the Infinity Gauntlet for about a year. And it looks really nice. But what they had to do was they had to pull it. So they launched it, and there was a lot of complaints with the gold finish on it. It didn't look good. It looked kind of flaky, and it didn't look good. So to their credit, they pulled it. redid it. It's now got a much better gold finish and relaunched it, which I would imagine put everyone back by 8 months, which certainly put a launch in the UK back potentially by a year. We might not see this until 2024. But it's this one. It looks lovely. Now, the unique thing about that one is it is a 1-to-1 scale, which, as far as I'm aware, is the first time a Partwork has done that. But it is as the Gauntlet, so it is humongous. I mean, you can't wear that thing. I mean, we measured it, and it would be literally, I could put the tip of my finger in it, and it would come up to my shoulder. That's how big this thing is. It's huge, because Thanos was enormous. If you've seen the scene where Spider-Man's trying to pull the glove off him, he's got hands wrapped around it and trying to pull it off. It's huge. So it's massive. It is a 1-to-1 scale, so it is as screen. It's huge. It's bigger than the Hot Toys version. It's the biggest, as far as I'm aware, version of this available. It's gorgeous. But I've seen the construction of it in France. I've seen how quickly they've made the bulk of the glove, of the palm. And I'm thinking, where's the other 90 issues going on this one then? So it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. But I don't know. I'd like to see that over here. I would imagine if it does, it's going to come through Fanhome. I can't say that for certain, but I would imagine that's what's going to happen. Speaking of Fanhome, rumoured releases for Fanhome are RoboCop, which is this one. So the RoboCop is very similar to our friend Iron Man over here, but I got to be honest, I've watched the construction of Iron Man, and I prefer, the construction of RoboCop, and I prefer the construction of that one to what they did with Iron Man, because they're building him up. So it's not just a box of limbs. They do have, kind of the limb box thing, but they're building the legs up, and then the waist is going up, and the back is, I prefer that. You're actually building something rather than just a whole box of limbs. Whether or not that gets launched, I don't know. If it's going to get launched anywhere over here, it's going to be through Fanhome. It depends how popular it's been. Again, I don't know how popular this has been in France. I would imagine quite. It's a very iconic character. It's a really nice build. It's not one I think I'd do. I mean, I've done the Iron Man, and I have my own issues with Iron Man. I love him now, I really do. And would I like a RoboCop standing next to me? I probably would. But I don't know. We'd have to see when it comes out and what else available at the time. Another one that is rumoured to be launching through Fanhome in the UK has just had a relaunch in France. So again, it seems likely this is going to happen, is the Millennium Falcon, which is this one. So that Falcon, I believe, first launched in the UK about 6 years ago, so it's already done a full run here. So I mean, if you wanted it, you probably could track these parts down on eBay, except that's going to cost you, it's going to be difficult, but it looks likely that that is going to get a relaunch through Fanhome. So the Millennium Falcon, I don't know when, don't hold me to this, this is just, it looks likely this is where we're going with this. The other one as well that is a potential to launch through Fanhome, whether or not it does, I don't know, is the Megazord from Power Rangers, which is this one. So I know there's a lot of Power Rangers fans out there that are going to go mad for that. So it surprises me that hasn't been released over here. The one thing I do know about Power Rangers is it was a licensing nightmare from my own experience of dealing with licenses of Power Rangers. I know that the licensing of that was nuts, because depended on the country, depended on what you could and couldn't launch, it was a nightmare. Honestly, I'm not even joking. It's the most mental copyright infringements are attached to that like you wouldn't believe. Depending on where you are, depends on what you can call it. It depends what you can and can't show. It depends what. It's nuts. Honestly, the licensing of Power Rangers is a bloody nightmare. So that might be why you haven't seen it in the UK. I don't know. Different territories have. It's really weird. They come in. I could talk about it all day, but they all come under different sort of media conglomerates. Who can launch what, who can do what with what can. It's mad. So there's a chance you're not going to see that. I hope not, because there's a lot of Power Rangers fans out there. I'm not one of them. I was too old for that. I missed it. So it wasn't part of my childhood. I've no real affection for Power Rangers. But from my own kind of dealings with companies that were dealing with the licensed Power Rangers, I'm aware of how difficult it was. So who knows? Who knows? That I mean, for me, that seems a complete no-brainer. I think there's a lot of people who'd like to build that. If you're going to see it, you're going to see it through Fanhome. Something you are going to see through Fanhome, which is bizarre, but we are, and this is going to happen soon. You're going to see this in the next couple of months. Is this from Eagle Moss? The DeLorean. It's making a comeback. I mean, it was an incredibly popular model. It's one of the most popular park models that's been done. And that doesn't. I'm not saying that it's one that everyone liked, but I'm saying it's one of the most popular ones been built. There are a lot of these out in the world. Now, the problem you've got with this one is a lot of people took a bath when Eagle Moss went under, and I've got half-finished DeLoreans. I don't think Fanhome are going to be able to hype you there. Typically, Fanhome's business model is you start from the start or you don't start at all. There's no option to sort of pick the bones and say, okay, I'd like issue 63 and issue 88. It doesn't work like that. You start from the beginning or you don't start at all. Which I know is not going to help a lot of people who've got half-built Ectos. But let's just see what happens. I mean, that's an assumption, but let's see what happens with that one. But that is launching, so that's going to launch in Fanhome in the next couple of months, and it is likely what I'm going to do. I didn't do it the first time around. So I think if there's a legitimate way where I can build a DeLorean, I will. Because believe it or not, and this is the kind of bizarre irony for me, I subscribed to the DeLorean through Eagle Moss. And it was when Eagle Moss were beginning to circle the drain. So we subbed to it 2 years ago. And when we got to, it was about 3 months, and then sent issue 1. I got onto them, I got on the phone to them, and they said, look, we don't have issue 1. I'm like, okay. They said, but what we will do is we're going to send you 6 parts out. And I'm like, okay, what parts are they? And then there was random parts. There was like part 32, part 64, part 65, and part, I want to say it was 81. And I'm like, and a couple of others, I'm like, what am I going to do with that? And they were like, well, you can hold on to them until you need them. And I'm like, that'd be like a year on some of those. I'm like, no. So I cancelled, and I built Iron Man. Through Fanhome. Ironically, Fanhome are now doing the DeLorean, so I will be building it through there. But that's, as far as I'm aware, that's all we're likely to see from Fanhome over the next. There's probably something else that I've missed, but as far as I'm aware, that's the likely lineup of Fanhome. Going back to Hachette, we did the Lancaster Bomber trial earlier in the year. I really like to see that come to fruition, but here's the Lancaster Bomber. Again, I don't know. Will we sell it this year? Don't know. It might launch January of next year. It might launch in the summer of this year, kind of like what they did with Eddie Stobart, was a very late year launch. So it might. I'd love to see that this year. I don't know if we will or not. I have nothing to tell you about when that's going to come out. I just hope it does. Others from Hachette are this, as time goes by, this looks less and less and less likely, is the Hogwarts Express. So the Hogwarts Express was trialled in 2020. We're now in 2023, and we've heard nothing with regards to this going to a full run. It hasn't got a full run anywhere. And typically, if something's going to get a full run, it happens in France or Italy before it happens in the UK. Not always. I mean, Titanic appeared to launch either exact the same time or slightly earlier in the UK than it did anywhere else. But you'd think we would have heard something by now, and we just haven't. Which would suggest to me there's a problem with it. Be that licensing, because Warner Brothers are a nightmare to deal with. We've discussed that before. But that said, they got the Tumblr through. So who knows? There might be something else going on with Harry Potter. I mean, I know full well that there's been a lot of turmoil with the creator of Harry Potter, the actors of Harry Potter. Don't necessarily want their images on things anymore, which, I can understand that. But if you've got a major character saying, you're not putting my image in that, how'd you launch it? If you had, I'm not saying this is what's happening, but this is an example of what can happen. If Daniel Radcliffe has said, you're not using any of my image in that magazine, what do you do with that? Do you know what I mean? If you can't show Harry Potter, how do you run a Harry Potter magazine? But it might not be that. It might be something. It might be something technical with the model. The model just didn't do what it was supposed to do. I don't know. But for me, that one seemed like the ultimate no-brainer. That one just seemed like obvious. This will sell and this will sell a lot, and it would if you launched it. It would sell a lot. They did do the trial. There was a 4-part trial run. It was very nice. The steam was going to be generated in the same way that Titanic steam is generated. Moving wheels. It was a gorgeous thing, but it just disappeared. We've seen or heard nothing of it, which is bizarre. But who knows? And I got to be honest, it looks less and less and less likely as the years have gone on we're ever going to see that. But who knows? Who knows? One day it might just go bang, Hogwarts Express, and there it is. We don't know, but I don't know, man. It could be the license could have been too expensive. It might not have been profitable. I don't know. But it's a weird one, that. The other ones, there are there's a handful out there that exist, but I think it's unlikely we're going to see them in this country. One of them is there's an Indian Springfield run in France at the moment, which is a tribute to Johnny Hallyday. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with who Johnny Hallyday is, Johnny Hallyday was like Elvis Presley in France. He was huge, massive national icon. And he rode rather famously in Indian Springfield. So this bike is his. It's based on his. Now, they could launch the Indian Springfield over here and not make quite such a big deal about the Johnny Hallyday connection. Because, again, over here, I don't think it would, outside of France, I think, but who's Johnny Hallyday? Is what's going to happen. But it is a gorgeous model. I mean, I've seen people building the Springfield. It's really nice. Really nice. But this is it. So who knows on that one? I don't know. That one seems a long shot. And to be honest with you, I think speaking for kind of UK builders, I don't think anyone would be that into it. I can't see that being that big a deal over here. Which is similar to this one. This is one from Hachette, which has been running in Japan for close to a year, based on a 1970s show. But this is the Mazinger Z, so you can see this one. Again, I think that is just a massive long shot. I don't think you're going to see it over here. I don't think anyone's screaming for it. I've not heard anyone say to me, when's that going to be released? So, I don't know. Maybe not. Other ones which I think are massive outsiders, ones I think maybe, but I just don't think the market's there for it, is the Hachette did a trial of the Canada Air, which is a firefighting plane. It's this one. I don't know. I mean, it's a nice model, but I don't know. Are people screaming for a Canada Air? If they have, I've not heard them screaming. So I don't know. Would I build it? Probably not. It's not for me. And I think that's it. I think if you look at trial and go, yeah, I think that it pretty much sums up how far this model's going to go. But who knows? The other one as well, this came out of left field. This was a Hachette, and it was the Zeppelin, which was this one. I mean, I can see why they'd go for that one based on the kind of popularity of the Bismarck, and the Titanic. I mean, I can see why. I don't think it's. Please don't jump on me, maritime enthusiasts. I just don't think it's as iconic a ship as the Titanic and the Bismarck. I just don't. But who knows? Titanic might come to an end or near the end, and they might go bam, and now here's this one. It's not one I build, but I can imagine it being very popular in other territories. I just can't see it being popular in the UK. And then another one that just completely out of left field, you're like, what the bloody hell? But I kind of like it, was E.T., which was this. It's a weird one, right? I mean, it's all the elements are there for this to make sense. You're like, right, well, it's sci-fi, it's kind of 80s, which appeals to our age group, which is kind of the age group that build these things. It's a big movie franchise. It just seems like a bit of a weird build. I don't know why. It just seems a bit of an odd one to me, but that's it. I kind of like it. I've seen the first construction of the face and the eyes and I kind of like it. I got to be honest. Will it get a full run? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I have no idea. I kind of hope it does. It's not. I mean, I like variety, and that's certainly variety. So we'll see what happens with that one. And again, it's like I said with the Alien. It's using this kind of skin. So it's going to be a similar build to the Alien, where you glue the skin on. And another one very similar to those two as well is a giant Batman that got trialed earlier in the year. And now it's gone to a full run in France, so there's a strong chance it's going to get launched here. But it's a giant Batman figure, and it's this one. So that's an enormous Batman. That's what there's nothing else I can say about it. What is it? It's just a giant Batman. It's about 3 foot of Batman. I don't really have anything else to say about it, to be honest with you. It's a giant Batman. That's what it is. It's a massive action figure. That's what it is. I don't want it. That's where I am with it. I'm not interested in building that. That's a bit weird for that. I mean, it's like E.T. E.T. I can kind of get on with. The giant Batman I just think's a little odd. I do. I just think it's a bit strange. And there are very large, very detailed Batman statues I'd rather have than that one, if that makes sense. I don't think I'd enjoy building that. But it's unique. I mean, you got to give it that. It's very unique. Another one that was trialed by Altair in France was Optimus Prime. Now, Agora are releasing Optimus Prime this month, so the Optimus Prime Gen 1 is launching through Agora models. It's very different to this one. This one's based on the movie version, and this was it. Now, will that get a full run? I don't know. And I think using my business head rather than my kind of model heart, I wouldn't launch it. If I was a model company and I knew Agora had their Optimus Prime out, even though this is movie Optimus Prime, I don't think I'd launch an Optimus Prime model whilst another Optimus Prime model was fresh on the market. It's not something I'd do. I'd just look at it and think, you know what, we're too late out the gate. People are going to be halfway through building Optimus Prime, and then we're going to launch an Optimus Prime. I can't see it. I wouldn't do it. I would wait until the Agora model has done its full run. So the earliest I would launch that one would be 2024. So maybe, I'm not saying never, but and it might launch in might launch in a month's time, I don't know. But personally, I can't see that making good business sense. If another one is on the market, why would you launch yours? Now I know you'll go, well, Eagle Moss launched their Titanic when Hachette launched their Titanic. Yeah, look how that worked out for them. So it strikes me as weird that there'd be 2 Optimus Primes running at the same time. I know they're different models. I know they're different. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I think it's conflict of interest. I think you'd maybe have some interesting debates with license holders and licensees where you'd go, okay, so who's got exclusivity over the character here? I don't know. But there are others. There are an absolute plethora of models out there at the moment that have ran trials, that are on full runs, but these are the ones that I think are very likely to be seen over here or not likely to be seen at all. But my God, there's so many. It's gone from famine to feast very quickly. And I think a lot of that is lockdown. I think a lot of people discovered these kind of models during lockdown. And also another thing that's helped it massively is social media. Whereas before you'd be building these things kind of on your own. And if you got stuck or you didn't know what was going on or something that's a bit weird, you wouldn't know. Whereas now, well, we have groups and YouTube channels and whatnot of people building it. You're thinking, okay, this is good. This is a community I like being part of, and people do these things a lot more. So the popularity of Partworks has gone through the roof. Partwork models been around for bloody years. I mean, I was building these when I was a kid. The first one, I can't remember the name of the company, but the very first one I ever built was a dinosaur. It was just a push-to-fit dinosaur. I would have been like 10, I think, 11. It was a push-to-fit dinosaur. You made the bones, which glowed in the dark. So you made like this T-Rex skeleton. And then you got the skin that went on him as well. And even before that, I mean, this is me really showing my age. If anybody remembers this, I'll be impressed. There was a Partwork called Quest. Anyone remember Quest? Quest was a science thing, and it came out fortnightly. And each one was about a different sort of branch of science, and it would be engineering or nature or whatever it was. But you'd get like a magazine, you'd get there was a game, so you get cards for a game which is kind of like Trivial Pursuit based on science, but you'd also get a model in every one. So in every single one, you get a cardboard model, like a paper model you could cut and make, and you could have like a Formula One car. There was a zoetrope you could make. There was a cityscape. They were fantastic. I loved them, but that was kind of my very first one. They also did one called Discovery, which was kind of like an offshoot of Quest, and it was a history one. So it was the same thing as Quest, but it was history. So you could build like the Mary Celeste and things like that. And that was my very, very first part work. I'd have been like 7, 8 years old, but I've collected loads over the years. But the model ones, I've never known it like this. There's always been a couple of these kicking around, you know, but never like this. This is insane. The market for these is absolutely crazy. And then the other big one was on Christmas Eve, Agora announced they have a license with James Bond 007. Can't wait. So Agora have confirmed 8 James Bond cards. I don't know how and when, right? So I don't know if it's 8 in one hit. I can't see that. Or if it's 1 or 2 a year, which seems a lot more likely. But they have confirmed the first one they're going to do is the DB5 from No Time to Die. And I'm 100% on board for that one. I'm definitely building it. They have confirmed others that they are doing. So the Lotus Esprit, the submarine, is coming. Definitely having that. And a few others as well. So I've got a big stupid smile. I'm big on Bond. So that'll be good. That'll be really good. But this was just a video to let you know what is coming. So you are in the unfortunate position at the moment of holding your nerve, because you can't buy all of these. I mean, you can, but in a time where it would probably be smart to be sensible with money, and you're limited to maybe 1 or 2 of these, you don't want to be signed up to something and then something you really want comes out and you can't get it, or have to cancel build halfway through. So it is now very much time to hold your nerve. There are no prizes for coming first. Okay, I always say this bizarre thing of I've got to do mine now because everyone else is doing it. So no. We're not in any race here. No, that's weird. You can hold your nerve. Okay, so there's no such thing as I'm behind. I hear that a lot. Oh, I'm a month behind on you know, the Titanic. I'm a month behind. You're not behind anything. You're building a model, right? So you're not behind anything. You're not behind the curve. It doesn't matter if somebody's got 4 parts ahead of you. It means bugger all. You're building a model for you. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. So hold your nerve. If you're thinking, Christ, I'd really like a Megazord, hold out then. Hold out, because you never know, it might just bloody appear. So if there's something like, meh, I kind of want to do that one, don't sign up to it. If you know that there's potentially something you really want to do, come in, hold out for it, you know? Because this is pretty much the period where it's going to happen. So between December and March is kind of part work model Christmas, is where all these things start coming out. So hold your nerve. If there's something you want, don't tie yourself up in a 2-year project on something you're not that keen on when you're thinking something's coming. So for instance, if you really wanted to build a DeLorean but you missed it through Eagle Moss the first time around, that is coming. So don't sign up to another one that you're kind of like nonplussed about, because you are going to be able to get your DeLorean. It's kind of like the Alien. If you really want to build the Alien, that's coming. So just hold your nerve. Don't sign up to something you don't want when the Alien is coming. As I said, there are a bunch of others I've not even mentioned. I've not mentioned the Moomin House. I've not mentioned Peter Rabbit's Garden. There are so many. It's ridiculous. Will they all be released over here? No. That's the simple answer to that question. No, they won't be. But some of these definitely will be. So it is a case of, unfortunately, as I said, holding your nerve. If you see one of those, I really want that, then just hold on. Hold on. Because it could just launch any day, and that's the problem. You don't want to sign up to something. I did it with Iron Man. Again, I signed up to Iron Man, and it was maybe about 6 weeks later, Knight Rider was released. And I was like, man, it's like, if I'd have waited, I'd have built Knight. It was a bit longer than that. It was about 3 months. I wish I'd waited, and I wish I'd done Knight Rider, to be honest with you. I've not done Knight Rider now because other things keep coming up ahead of it. But if I had my time again, I had to choose again, would I choose Iron Man or Knight Rider? I would have chose Knight Rider. I would have. But that's That's the way it is, and so don't end up in the same situation I did. Just hold your nerve. That is all from me for now. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you very, very soon for Titanic. Should be the next one's coming up. So Titanic, hopefully, will appear on the channel tomorrow for our next 4 parts. Disney Doll's House will be coming very, very, very soon as well, along with Disney Crochet, the last of the Iron Man. We do have more Row Life builds we're doing at the moment. Honestly, it's gone from famine to feast now the post has started back up. So I've got so much to do, it's ridiculous. And we will have, next week, we will have part 2 of the Batman Tumblr. So please swing by for that. I'll say it once again, the world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. Please remember you can contact us at buildingtheboys@outlook.com, and we will catch you on the next one.